go. 1, 2, and 3.
No, you can't see your face, honey. No, I know that wasn't good. Please start shooting again.
Copy of the revolution. The dam system is guilty as hell. Make sure you get it afterwards.
Actually, the progressive fund is
And they found this out a couple months ago. That the only reason how this pipeline will present.
Beautiful car. So nice all the trees.
With that, their energy transfer partners is still pushing forward, but the problem is that because there are no progressives, they are
¿Cómo está? Aquí, mira. A la lucha. Gracias por venir. No nos quedan otras las pichadas regadas. Exacto.
I really want to like take Michigan during practice and sit in the dirt. That was really fun. Everybody looks at it. It's like someone died at
And bring in bottles. That's part of the process. There's my crew, yeah. Hello.
To get free electricity.
I'm glad I had it.
Which basically we have a master Excel sheet and we've got all these loose things that we have to make sure we have. And then make that list. First thing.
Hey, we get it when it comes. It's not the end of your life yet.
Oh no.
But if you go on Facebook, if it's progressive, search and they show you. And then there's a revolution right at
He said he wasn't coming today. Let's check out the resist delay.
Okay, you don't want to walk there.
We'll do that over right here.
Hey, Phil? Yes.
Yeah, Country's house is like Brooke is here. I was like, no, she's on the way. So we're here already.
For now?
That makes so much sense.
Good for you. Yeah. So you signed up, right? Maybe you can give us some tips. Tips from the today side.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, exactly. You keep fighting that same old battle all the time. So, how you doing? What time you visit?
I'm like, I just met up my girl around the morning and she dropped me off.
Yeah, your phone has it.
Oh, okay.
You can always get on your
I'll
map
get my
and
10,000
crank it out.
Oh, you're definitely going to get 10,000 steps.
So all these are giving away time?
They're really feeling it.
Punch the guy. Take a picture, then you punch the guy. Come on. Punch the guy.
I gotta get this on my 3D camera. I got a 3D camera. I need to get this. Yeah, man. Everything to me. Everything.
Everything!
It's everything to me.
Me too!
I'm for it. Here, I'm gonna hit
Hey,
go.
hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go!
Stay right there. Yeah. Step back. Activity area Joe was talking about.
There's different.
Right here. Just get some little bit more soil on top and we'll put some water.
We're in the kids zone.
We can just bury it.
Hi, Kat.
Hey, Dad, what's up?
Hey. Here we go, kids.
Yep. This is great.
I love it.
I love this.
It's wonderful.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Here to start our gathering off with the right intentions and respect, we now present our opening words from indigenous people of this land we now stand on and occupy. Ladies and gentlemen, Please welcome Larry Smith.
Larry Smith. I'm Lumbee from the Lumbee Nation in North Carolina. Hello, it's good to see everybody. I'm grateful to be here on Tongva land, and I'm grateful to be here amongst all of you to help defend Mother Earth and everything that she provides for all living beings here on planet Earth. And I have the privilege and honor to introduce a good friend, a good colleague, and someone who I've worked with for many years. She is the founder of Tiat Society, the traditional council of Pimo. She's an educator, she's a cultural educator, she's a professor, she's a community activist, she's a community organizer, and she is from this land. So I want to welcome from the Tongva Nation, Cindy Alvitri.
Good morning, everybody, all you human beings. I hope you're here to become human beings in training again, so y'all remember where you're supposed to be in this hierarchy of the Hunuk Vitam, the pre-human people. This morning I have a couple of things that I want to say, but before I start, I need to acknowledge our younger generation. This is Mitzla Aguilera. An activist, an artist, and a genuine human being. I want to acknowledge right now all the young people that are here, because what I have to give to you right now and say this morning is very important, that you hear the words and that you take it in, but that we all during the day look at each other and acknowledge each other as human beings. And remember one thing, that I don't own the land and you don't own the land owns us. Mother Earth owns us. Grandmother Moon owns us. The water owns us. The air owns us. And when you get out of the whole human centricity that think this whole event today is about you as human being, it's not. It's about our abuse and what I will call nature deficit disorder. So this is me, so I wanted to say a few words.
It's a beautiful thing to see all your faces here, to see all you standing with me, standing beside me. I'm here today as a member of the Tongva Nation, but I'm also here as a daughter of Mexico. My family comes from Zacatecas and Guanajuato. But see, the thing is, I'm not considered north or south of the border. I don't consider myself based on a border. Either way you look at it, my DNA has existed on this land since before that wall was built, since before our nation's capital was built, since before the Mayflower came to this land, since before the Pinto and the other two that I can't remember. But it's an honor here to stand with all of you, to stand with all my brothers and sisters, to fight for our earth, to fight for our water. When we were created in our creation story, in our Tongva creation story, the human beings were created last. And it wasn't because we were the last, because we were greater than all those created before us. And it wasn't because we were inferior to all those created before us, to all the animals, to all the plants, to all the nature. But it was because we were given the duty to protect what sometimes cannot protect itself.
Realizing that this administration is attacking frontline communities, this has been a reality for all of us all along. And to have you guys here with us is making sure that you guys are letting us, the front line, lead this movement and create change in our communities, and making sure that frontline communities aren't being attacked by the Trump administration and big oil. They do not belong in our hood. Our futures are being trashed. Our children are given a sick and tired environment, and we have to say no. This is the day that we say no. Every single day from this, we make sure that we are resisting what is going on in our communities. If they're not protecting our health, our climate. This is why we're here, because climate change isn't something that's up in the North Pole. This is something we're feeling right here, right now, right? And whether it's the greedy intentions of big oil or whether it's the greedy intentions of the Soto oil here in Wilmington, California, we are going to continue to resist because the largest oil refinery in the West Coast has no room in Wilmington, and we are not going to let it happen, right? There are over 100 different organizations that have taken a part in getting people out here for the People's Climate March. So thank you all for being here, and thank you all for taking a stance for environmental justice, because none of this could happen if we weren't all standing here together. So, thank you guys for allowing me to be your MC, but also coming down to my hood with our community. And we also want to make sure that we're letting our front line be represented. So if you guys see any folks from in the back with CBE, East Yards, Carson community, let's make sure we get you guys up to the front, right? Let's make sure we open that space for our community, right? Awesome. So before we go on, we're going to make sure that we include a couple other speakers that Joe is going to introduce. So join me now in introducing, again, my pleasure, our co-host, my co-host actually, the founder of the organization South Bay LA 350, my friend Joy Galliani.
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, I am this tall. Hello, all you beautiful people. I'm so glad to see you all, because to change everything, we need everyone. And we definitely need to change everything, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunately, we have everything in place right now, right here, to stop using this poison oil and stop killing our children and their children. We already have the solar, we have the wind, we have the storage. All of this is ready for you to use now. The only thing that's stopping us is the most evil and rogue industry on the planet. The people that want to burn us to the ground. Are we going to let them do that? No! Damn right we're not. Fortunately, this movement is big and broad and inclusive, and it's growing every single day. Look around. He may be the worst thing that's ever happened to our government, but Donald Trump has brought us all together in a way only the devil himself could have. Thank you all so sincerely for coming. You're welcome! Okay, we're back online. Thank you. I blame the Trump administration for this problem. So I wanted to say again, thank you for coming to Wilmington. This is Ground Zero. And this is what happens when the oil industry and the politicians that they bought and paid for put profits over people. And what that really buys you is the higher
of what the Soto has planned for our neighborhood. The most dangerous, explosive, and toxic oil being extracted anywhere on the planet is headed this way. And if we don't do something about it, it's going to be affecting our families and the waterways of indigenous peoples throughout this nation. They're going to be bringing Canadian tar sands oil, Bakken crude from North Dakota. And yes, Standing Rock is everywhere, especially here. So if you're for indigenous rights, you are for this Soto project not happening. For reproductive rights, for immigrant rights, regardless of where you are and where you come, your basic human rights need to be happening here. This is the only place where we can have them. So why are we still fighting for them? This merger can't go on. The Soto would allow this pipeline to connect to the Dakota Access Pipeline. But we are not going to allow that, are we? Right.
All right, let's get started with our program now. Our first two speakers are both from Communities for Better Environment, and they are the leaders in this fight against the merger. And they are here to tell us exactly exactly what we're up against, ladies and gentlemen. Julia May is the senior scientist for Communities for a Better Environment, and she's been with CBE for over 30 years. No one knows the facts and the scientific reality of what the Tesoro merger really means for our environment and our communities better than Julia does. If you were marching for science last weekend, you were marching for Julia.
Awesome! And we also have my friend and colleague. She's been working for Communities for a Better Environment for 20 years and resisting the impact of big oil and big money have in our community. You may have heard of Alicia and seen her on the Steve Lopez article that just went out last month. And she has been on the ground working grassroots with Communities for a Better Environment, making sure people in Wilmington know about the 5 refineries that were here, and also making sure people are connected to not only the issues that are going on, but the families, the children, the mothers that are impacted every day. Alicia speaks with them, organizes, mobilizes. So let's give it up for Alicia Rivera.
Freedom of speech and everything, but they do a lot of petitions and stuff. And like for the majority of the people who like use that website, even for any support, and they still support the like the site itself.
There's a lot of people like that, you know. And I understand people that voted for Hillary, they're afraid. I look at it as like people that voted for Hillary are afraid of losing their own.
Here are some of the actual facts. Pearl wants to bring 330,000 barrels fracked crude oil by bomb trains to Washington will benefit to LA. Bakken crude oil is high methane and it's so volatile that the U.S. Department of Transportation issued a penalty that is likely that it can more explosives and that's why there are also those to bring car stations it has to be streamlined, devastating. Right now, LA does not have much tar sands or Bakken crude here. So the new Tesoro project would break open LA infrastructure. So this is really also has already had a big pipeline still in North Dakota on farmland, and that's connected to
you lose the paper, you'll have to.
Does this sound like Tesoro expects in North Dakota and Canada? Does LA want oil from the Dakota Access Pipeline? Scientists also found the U.S. fracking boom, including North Dakota, will likely cause a worldwide spike in methane emissions, potent greenhouse gas. Here in LA,
of the storm. This is where to be. You should be proud of yourselves. All of the millions of resistors across this country should be proud of themselves. And they thought we wouldn't put up a fight, but they were wrong. We have risen up and become the resistance. Each good thing that has happened since the election happened because millions of Americans have marched and filled the town halls of the politicians and filled the elected officials' offices with calls and texts. These communities near Tesoro Refinery are what the extractors call sacrifice zones. Cancer-causing benzene and other toxins in the air and water threaten people and their lives. I know you know this, I'm saying it out loud though because there's press here. And I want to be sure that people that see the media of this event understand what you are facing here. And as you know, they're planning to expand the Tesoro Refinery. What do they care? Right? What do they care? You're just working people. You're just people of color. You're just poor people, expendable. This is about environmental justice and racism. Woo! And it's not happening because we need the oil. We do not need it. The planet cannot afford it. The people in Wilmington and surrounding communities, woo, cannot live with the risks and damage it brings. Not just here, but all down the coast, from Vancouver to LA Harbor. This is not happening because of need, it is happening because of greed. Greed on the part of the petrol oligarchy, who want even more, even in the face of scientific proof that it will lead to disaster. Instead, we must make a managed and compassionate transition to a low-carbon economy that protects oil, gas, and coal workers and their families and communities. We must fight to end the huge subsidies the government gives to the fossil fuel industry. Isn't it interesting how those guys hate giving welfare to you all, and yet they take so much of it themselves that we pay for it? And we must use that money instead to invest in renewable energy, housing, transportation, healthcare, social assistance, education, the very low carbon sectors that knit our society together rather than environmental catastrophe. And listen to this, these industries, the renewable, low-carbon industries create dozens or hundreds more jobs than the extractive industries. Other countries are moving to a carbon-neutral economy, but many of our politicians don't want us to know this. They and Fox News tell us that clean energy isn't ready. They lie. Facts and share them. If we stand up to them and fight as if our lives depend on it, which they do, we may be able to avoid the worst of the climate catastrophe. I'm sorry, it's plastic. We shouldn't buy plastic, but we need to protect our water. We can't march today or just next month. We must see this as an ongoing fight. This is a revolution. understand that for the first time in human history, we face an existential threat to our planet and to our democracy. If they win, we move closer to the tipping point and there'll be no going back. This has never happened before. Let it never be said that we sat by while a group of mostly white male billionaires tried to deny the American people a viable future. Sí se puede.
And cojones to follow that. And I have just the person for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the man who fits that bill. Because one day, after the election of Donald Trump, he stood up for all of California and he announced, quote, "Today we woke up feeling like strangers in a foreign land. Because yesterday Americans expressed their views on a pluralistic and democratic society that are clearly inconsistent with the values of the people of California." He went on to say that California is and must always be a refuge of justice and opportunity for people of all walks, talks, ages, and aspirations, regardless of how you look, where you live, what language you speak, or who you love. He is our state's progressive leader on the environment and clean energy. He is the voice for the working class and the determined defender of immigration and all immigrants. And he is here with us today because he knows that climate change starts in this hood. And he is working to do something about it, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome me. Please welcome with me California State Senate President Pro Tem, the representative of the 21st District, Senator Kevin De Leon.
Thank you so very much. Joe, thank you very much for that very warm introduction of my person. To each and every one of you, I'm incredibly honored and humbled to be before all of you. Know one thing, this is California. And in California, we believe in science and we believe in climate action. We don't ban it, we don't wall it off, and we don't deport it. We believe that every single child, irrespective of who they are and where they come from, the language that they speak, the hue of their skin, and yes, their legal status, deserves to breathe clean air into her lungs and drink clean water. We don't believe in alternative facts and pseudo-junk science. Not in California. This is the 6th largest economy in the world. In fact, you would think that Donald Trump, Scott Pruitt, Rick Perry will look towards California and find value in what we do. As a state, we are 39% less carbon intensive, and we have created 500,000 new jobs in the clean energy space. Jobs that are real, jobs that are tangible, jobs that you can verify. Guess what? When you harness the power of the sun and the wind, it's free. Is that subject to volatility on the global market? Is that subject to wars in the Mideast and elsewhere? That's why in California we have more jobs in the clean energy space than there are coal jobs in the entire nation. So Mr. Trump, Scott Pruitt, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, if you're serious about growing an economy, if you're serious about putting people to work, if you're serious about expanding the middle class, allowing working people to be part of the middle class, you don't have to look farther. Look to California. This is the leader. My friends, it is absolutely important that we remain a world leader on workers' rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, economic and social justice, civil rights and voting rights, environmental protections and climate action, access to public education and healthcare to all individuals. This is who we are as a state. A beautiful tapestry, an amazing mosaic of so many individuals from every color, from every creed, and every corner of the world. This is what makes California the greatest state and the greatest nation in the world. So know that on behalf of the California State Senate, we will work with each and every one of you to make sure that we reduce the harmful emissions of carbon into the atmosphere, that we reduce harmful, short-lived climate pollutants, black carbon, NOx, SOx, particulate matter 2.5, what our children breathe into their lungs every single day. In all of the freeways, they act like a serpent that chokes the air, the oxygen out of a young girl's lungs. We can do better, and we will do better. That irregardless of who occupies the White House today, that individual will never change our values as Californians. And on November 8th, around midnight, I never felt prouder, I never felt prouder to be a Californian. Whereby a margin in the millions, Californians rejected the politics fueled by resentment, misogyny, and bigotry. That's not who we are as a state, the greatest state in the nation. And I'll say this, California may not have been part in the beginning of the history when this nation was conceived. But without a doubt, today, we are now clearly the keeper of its future. With that, God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Biological diversity, and every one of you is lovely, and I really appreciate your efforts, your posters, your art. All of our volunteers, however, will be meeting behind the bus. So if you are a volunteer, please meet us behind the bus. All right, I'm going to read a solidarity statement because today is also the anniversary of the Los Angeles riots. And we wanted to say that we are in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in South LA community who have gathered today with other organizations at the Future Fest to build community, commitment, and a vision for South LA's future. It is with great pleasure and reflection
election that I read this statement. Today, April 29th, as residents of South LA commemorate the 25th anniversary of the LA Uprising, we stand together against environmental racism, and we stand together in resolve to create healthy communities and take a strong stand against climate justice. Today, we are reminded that as we struggle to restore South Los Angeles from the south to the soil, we can never forget that one of those assaults that has barred and marred our landscape and fouled our air and water is the extraction of fossil fuels in our communities. We stand in solidarity with all communities living along the fence line in the sacrifice zones from Wilmington to South LA. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martha Segar. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're getting ready to march because we're going to march within 10 minutes.
It is. That's one of the symbols they use. Oh, that's going to the
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
We need more volunteers to meet behind the bus. We have an intense need for volunteers. If you're ready to step up and volunteer, please head on back here to help us with this march. But let me tell you about our next speaker. He was named one of Time Magazine's Heroes for the Planet for his success in helping Riverkeeper lead the fight to restore the Hudson River in New York. And if you grew up in New York like I did, you didn't think that was ever possible, but it happened. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has built his reputation as an unrelenting defender of the environment based on this and a long string of other successful legal actions. I could tell you so much more about him, but let's hear from the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Avery Lovins, the great environmental economist, showed me two photographs recently that were taken 10 years apart, both of them from the same vantage point in New York City looking uptown on 5th Avenue. One of them was taken in 1903 and it showed 100 horse and buggies and a single automobile. 10 years later in 1913, another photograph taken from the same place looking uptown showed 100 automobiles and 1 horse and buggy. Why did that happen? Because Henry Ford discovered a way of dropping the price of Model T automobiles by 67% in 13 years. Well, guess what? We've dropped the price of solar energy 80% in 5 years. It now costs $1 billion a gigawatt to build a solar plant. It costs $3 to $5 billion a gigawatt to build a coal plant. $5 billion to build a gas or oil plant. $15 billion a gigawatt to build a nuke plant. We could make energy burning prime rib if we wanted, but that's not what the market's going to tell us to do. The market is going to tell us to take the cheapest way, which is solar and wind. Yes. And the markets already know that. And that's why the top 50 coal companies in this country are now in bankruptcy. The top three coal companies, Arch, Peabody, and Consol, have lost 80% of their value in the past 2 years. The economic rationale for coal and oil is gone. So the only way they can hold on to their domination of the marketplace is two ways. Building infrastructure like the XL pipeline, the Dakota pipeline, and the Tesoro expansion to anchor us in, because when they build those things, it's not the oil companies that are paying for them. It's Goldman Sachs, it's Wells Fargo, it's Citibank, and it's the pension funds. So that they get everybody else involved in their crime against humanity. And always the other thing that they do is they hijack our government. So today, we have the head of Exxon Oil running the State Department. We have a man, Scott Pruitt, who's running EPA, whose only qualification for that job is money that he took from the Koch brothers and 15 lawsuits that he filed against EPA. He has vowed to destroy EPA, and Donald Trump made him the head of EPA. And who's the head of our energy department? Rick Perry, who during the campaign, Donald Trump said that Rick Perry was a, quote, dimwit, quote, an idiot. He said the only reason that Rick Perry got glasses is because it's the only thing that can make him look smart. That's what Donald Trump said. Rick Perry himself said that he didn't know what the energy department does. But whatever it does, he wants to destroy it. So, and Myron Ebel, who spent the first part of his career defending big tobacco, has now been put in charge of saving oil and coal from catastrophe. Now, why would Donald Trump put these people in charge? Well, Scott Bannon was asked that question in front of CPAC. And he said he acknowledged that these people were idiots. He said the reason we put them in charge is it's part of our plan to deconstruct the administrative state. In other words, to destroy government. What happens when you destroy government? It elevates the power of corporations. And that ultimately is what they're trying to do. And I'm going to say one more thing to you. Since the beginning of American history, our most visionary political leaders, Republicans and Democrats, have said that the great threat to American democracy is not big government, but it's excessive corporate power. Yep. Teddy Roosevelt, a Republican, said that the American democracy would never be destroyed by a foreign power, but it would be subverted by malefactors of great wealth who would steal it from within. Dwight Eisenhower, a Republican, said in his greatest speech ever, warned Americans against the domination by the military-industrial complex. Abraham Lincoln, the greatest president in our history, the founder of the Republican Party, said at the height of the Civil War, I have the South in front of me, and I have the bankers behind me, and for my country, I fear the bankers more. Yes. And Franklin Roosevelt said during World War II, that the domination of government by business is, quote, the essence of fascism. Yep. Fascism, I want to remind you, communism is the domination of business by government. Fascism is the domination of government by business. And right now, you look at what's happening, we are fighting a civil war over the transition from dirty, filthy, poisonous, addictive fuels from hell to the clean, green, safe, wholesome, and healthy fuels from heaven. The last time that we transitioned from old immoral fuel to new energy source was during the Civil War, when we transitioned away from slavery. And the vested interests who owned that system and profited from it were willing to go to war and to destroy the federal government and kill 669,000 Americans in order to hold on to their profit margin. And that's the battle we're fighting today against the oil industry and the coal industry. And we have to send them a message that there once again are Americans who are willing to make the sacrifice to make sure that we hold on to our values and that we make this nation live up to its mission of being a moral society. Thank you.